In the history of Kenya, one man holds a bizarre and almost forgotten record. Not for winning an election or rising through political rank, but for seizing power for just 6 hours. His name was Hezekiah Ochuka, and for a brief moment in 1982, he was the self-declared president of Kenya. Welcome back to Echoes of Time, where we take you through history to explore those interesting and newsworthy stories you may have forgotten. If you're new here, kindly like, follow, subscribe, and leave a comment at the end of this video. Thank you. Born in 1953 in Koguta near Lake Victoria, Hezekiah Ochuka was a humble lad from a Luo farming family. He joined the Kenya Air Force and quickly rose to the rank of senior private, not an officer, not a general, just a low-ranking airman, but he had ambition and a dream of revolution. In 1978, President Jomo Kenyatta died, and his vice president Daniel Arap Moi took over. Though initially popular, discontent brewed beneath the surface. Some in the military believed Moi's regime was corrupt, tribal, and authoritarian. Among them, Ochuka. In the book, Kenya, the national epic, the author notes that Ochuka had the words, "the next president of Kenya," carved on his desk in the Air Force. This led him to quickly accept a proposal by Obuan and Oteyo to overthrow Moi's government. In late July 1982, Ochuka held a secret meeting at football grounds near Umoja Estate, which details of how the coup was to be executed were discussed. Ochuka told the attendees that he had the support of Uganda, Tanzania, and Sudan, would send their soldiers to the borders to counter any opposition. He went further to allege that he had the blessings of the Soviet Union, which would send a ship to the Kenyan coast to guard against any external interference. With this information, the soldiers were confident of a win, and Ochuka thought he had solidified the support he needed. At dawn on August 1, 1982, Ochuka led a faction of Kenya Air Force soldiers in a dramatic coup attempt. The country woke up in confusion as heavy gunfire filled the air. A group of rogue soldiers led by Ochuka had seized power at night after storming the national broadcaster, where they announced that they were now in charge of the country, and were being fought by the loyal soldiers. The men also took control of Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, the Ministry of Defense, and other key installations. Ochuka and his men forced a group of Air Force fighter pilots to bomb the State House at gunpoint. The supposed trusted pilots pretended as if they were listening to orders given to them by their chief, but instead, once in the air, dropped bombs over Mount Kenya forests. For 6 tense hours, Ochuka and his men controlled Kenya and claimed that the Constitution was suspended. He declared himself chairman of the People's Redemption Council, effectively making him the youngest and shortest-serving head of state in Kenya's history at only 29 years old. But the joy, or chaos, was short-lived. The Kenya Army, loyal to President Moi, responded swiftly. Military officers loyal to President Moi, including Lieutenant General John Saw and General Mohammed Mahmoud, organized a counter-operation to restore order in regions experiencing civil unrest due to the coup. By mid-morning, the coup was crushed, and the president announced this later in the evening through a national address. Soldiers loyal to Ochuka fled. He escaped to Tanzania after hijacking an army helicopter. About 385 civilians were arrested, primarily on charges of looting and conspirating against the government. Prominent individuals arrested for allegedly plotting the coup included Raila Odinga, former Alego Usonga MP Otieno Makanyango, and university students such as Richard Onyanka, Ojinga Ogego, Wachira Waru, Shemo Chawato, Odor Onowin, and Isaac Ruto. The coup resulted in the deaths of 129 individuals, including both soldiers and civilians. In 1983, Tanzanian authorities extradited Ochuka back to Kenya. After a lengthy trial, he was convicted of treason. In 1987, Hezekiah Ochuka was executed by hanging, the last person in Kenya to face the death penalty. The family never saw Ochuka's body, and according to Luo tradition, they held a ceremony to bury something in his honor. However, government detectives disrupted the ceremony, warning the family not to conduct any funeral rituals until they received official confirmation of Ochuka's death. His lawyer, Moses Wetangula, has never given the family closure on the whereabouts of their son. So, why did the coup fail? Apparently, Ochuka had made up stories of the external support they would receive as part of building support from his soldiers. Another reason for failure was that most of the plotters did not execute their duties as planned. Further, the soldiers were busy looting on the day of the coup. They forgot to go and arrest the president and his ministers. Today, Hezekiah Ochuka's story is barely told. But for a few surreal hours in 1982, a 29-year-old airman, not a politician, not a general, declared himself the president of Kenya. This was the brief reign of Hezekiah Ochuka, Kenya's youngest and shortest-serving president. Follow us on YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook at Echoes of Time for more.